Welcome to Shadow Psychology. If you're ready to transform your mind and unlock the hidden codes of human psychology, you've come to the right place. Subscribe and hit the bell, because what you're about to learn will change everything. Let me ask you a question you probably never ask yourself. Where does your energy go every single day? I'm not talking about the energy for work or the gym or your projects. I'm talking about the deep, fundamental life force that powers your will, your focus, your very essence. The brutal, unspoken truth is that most men are bleeding this energy. They are leaking power from a wound they don't even know exists. They wake up tired before the day begins. They face challenges with a sense of dread, a heavy weight on their shoulders. They push through life, but they are not powered by a fierce internal fire. They are dragging themselves forward on willpower alone, and willpower is a finite resource. This exhaustion is not physical. It's not a matter of needing more sleep or a better diet. This is a sickness of the soul, a psychological cancer. And it is caused by one single, fundamental error in the way you interact with reality itself. You are in a state of perpetual, silent, exhausting war with what is. You are fighting reality, and reality always wins. Think about the last time something went truly wrong in your life. A business failure, a betrayal, a sudden loss. Recall the mental chaos that followed, the frantic loop of thoughts. This shouldn't have happened. Why me? If only I had. This isn't fair. This internal narrative, this resistance, is not just mental noise. It is an active, energy-intensive process. It is the psychological equivalent of slamming your head against a brick wall again and again and being surprised that you have a headache. Neuroscientists can now see this war in the brain. When you resist reality, when you fight against a fact you cannot change, you trigger a cascade of stress hormones, cortisol, and adrenaline. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detector, goes on high alert. Your prefrontal cortex, the seat of rational thought and executive function, goes offline. You are literally putting your body and mind into a state of fight or flight over something you cannot fight and cannot flee from. You are a soldier in a battle that ended before you even arrived, still firing your weapon at an enemy that is no longer there. This is the definition of insanity, and it is draining the life out of you. This resistance manifests in 1,000 subtle ways every single day. The traffic jam that makes you rage, the critical comment from your boss that ruins your afternoon, the rainy weather that cancels your plans and sours your mood. In these moments, you are presented with a simple fact of reality. The traffic is jammed. The criticism was uttered. The rain is falling. And your immediate unconscious response is to say no. This no is the prison. It is the first and most fundamental barrier to your power. By rejecting what is already true, you create an internal split. A part of you is here in the present moment, and another part of you is locked in a fantasy world where things are different, where things are how they should be. This division requires constant energy to maintain. You are powering two realities at once. No wonder you are tired. Most self-help and motivational garbage tells you to think positive, to fight through it. This is like telling a man bleeding from a severed artery to just think about having more blood. It is not only useless, it is dangerous. It encourages you to pour more energy into the resistance, to fight the war harder, to put a positive facade over a foundation of internal conflict. This is a recipe for burnout, for a crisis that arrives not with a bang, but with a whisper. A day when you simply cannot get out of bed, when the will to fight has been utterly exhausted. The real solution, the path to true, unshakable power, is not to fight reality, but to stop the war entirely. to lay down your weapons, to look at the thing you have been fighting, and instead of saying no, to say a full, complete, and unconditional yes. This is not surrender. Surrender is for the defeated. This is an act of supreme intelligence. It is the recognition that you cannot change a fact, but you have absolute power over what that fact means to you. This is the gateway to Amor Fati, the love of fate. The term Amor Fati was coined by the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He did not discover it in a comfortable library. He forged it in the fire of immense, unrelenting personal suffering. He lived with debilitating migraines that left him blind and vomiting for days. He lived with near total social isolation and the rejection of his life's work. He watched his health, his reputation, and his sanity crumble around him. A weaker man would have been defined by this suffering. He would have become a victim, a cautionary tale. Nietzsche did the opposite. He looked into the abyss of his own pain and decided to love it. He wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it." This is not the philosophy of a man who had an easy life. This is the hard-won wisdom of a man who stared into hell and decided to find a way to thrive there. He understood that your fate, everything that happens to you, is the raw material of your character. You can either be crushed by it, or you can use it as the anvil upon which you forge yourself into something harder, sharper, and more resilient than you ever thought possible. Let's make this practical. Let's talk about the anatomy of resistance. Resistance is not a single thing. It is a multi-layered process that happens in your mind, and until you understand its components, you cannot dismantle it. The first layer is denial. This is the initial shock. This can't be happening. Your brain rejects the reality of the event as a defense mechanism. It is a psychological airbag. It is useful for a split second to soften the impact, but if you remain in denial, you are living in a fantasy. The facts are proceeding without your permission, and your denial does not slow them down for a single moment. The second layer is judgment. This is where you label the event. This is bad. This is a disaster. This is unfair. This judgment is not a fact. It is your interpretation. It is a story you are telling yourself about the event. Two men can experience the exact same business failure. One judges it as a catastrophic, identity-shattering defeat. The other judges it as a painful but invaluable lesson. The event is the same. The suffering is different because the judgment is different. The third layer is emotional identification. This is where the judgment triggers an emotional storm. Anger, fear, shame, despair. You are no longer just experiencing an event, you have become the event. You are not a man who lost a business, you are a failure. You are not a man who was betrayed, you are a victim. Your identity fuses with the negative event, and this is the point where it begins to drain your core energy. You are carrying the event not as a memory, but as a part of who you are. The final layer, the most insidious of all, is the mental loop of resistance. This is the endless, repetitive, circular thinking, the if only and the what if. Your mind, like a hamster on a wheel, runs through the same scenarios, the same arguments, the same regrets, over and over and over. It is trying to solve a problem that has no solution, the problem of changing the past. This mental loop is perhaps the greatest energy vampire known to man. It consumes your focus, your creativity, and your presence, leaving you as a hollow shell, going through the motions of life but not truly living it. This is the prison. And the key to this prison is a simple, though not easy, shift in perception. It is the move from resistance to acceptance. But we must be very clear. Acceptance is not passivity. Acceptance is not saying, it's okay that this bad thing happened. Acceptance is saying, it happened. Period. It is the conscious, deliberate act of aligning your mind with reality. It is stopping the war. It is ceasing to argue with a fact. When you do this, something miraculous happens. The energy that was being poured into the futile battle of resistance is suddenly liberated. It is returned to you. The mental loops stop, the emotional storm calms, the sense of heaviness lifts. You are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are a conscious agent standing in the midst of circumstances. This liberated energy is now available for the only thing that ever matters: action, for creating your future. This is the core of the first part of our work. To become an unbreakable man, you must first become a man who is no longer at war with himself. You must end the civil war in your mind. You must master the art of acceptance. This is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without it, any attempt at building strength, any pursuit of power, any strategy for success will be built on sand. It will be undermined by the constant, draining leak of resistance. With it, you have a foundation of granite. You have access to the full reservoir of your energy, your focus, and your will. You are ready to not just face your fate, but to love it, to use it, to forge yourself in its fire. This is the beginning of Amor Fati. This is the first step toward becoming unbreakable. The first part was about stopping the bleeding. It was about ending the silent, exhausting war with reality and reclaiming the monumental amount of energy you waste on resistance. That is the foundational work. It is the clearing of the ground. But clearing the ground is not the same as building a fortress. An empty plot of land is vulnerable. The storms will still come. The chaos of life will not cease. Now that you have stopped fighting what is, you are faced with a critical question. What do you do with this liberated energy? What do you do with this newfound presence? The answer is not to simply sit in passive acceptance. That is merely a more sophisticated form of defeat. The answer is to take the raw, unchangeable facts of your existence, your fate, and to become its active, conscious co-creator. This is where we move from mere acceptance to the alchemy of Amor Fati. This is where we learn to love our fate, not in spite of what it is, but because of what it is. Nietzsche's concept of Amor Fati is often misunderstood as a kind of stoic endurance, a grim-faced willingness to bear suffering. This is a profound error. The word is not tolerar fati, to tolerate fate. It is not accepere fati, to accept fate. It is amor, love. This is an active, passionate, creative force. To love your fate is to see every event, every circumstance, every scar, and every triumph as an essential and necessary ingredient in the masterpiece that is your life. It is to look at the entirety of your existence, the light and the darkness, the joy and the profound pain, and to declare, I would not have it any other way. This is not a delusion. It is the highest form of psychological integration. It is the ultimate act of personal sovereignty. Let's break down the atomic structure of this formula. Amor Fati is not a single action, but a three-part psychological process: recognition, revaluation, and direction. You have already begun the first part, recognition. This is the clear-eyed, unflinching acknowledgement of reality that we worked on in part 1. This happened. It is a fact. There is no story attached, no judgment, no emotional charge. It is simply the data point of your existence. This is the foundation. Without this foundation of absolute honesty, everything else you build will be crooked. The second part, and the true heart of the alchemy, is revaluation. This is the moment you take the raw, neutral fact and assign it a new, empowering meaning. This is where you stop being a passive recipient of circumstance and become the author of its significance. The world does not give events meaning. You do. Most people are unconscious of this power. They inherit their meanings from society, from their parents, from their trauma. They are handed a script and they follow it. A business failure means you are a failure. A betrayal means you are unworthy of trust. A period of illness means your life is on hold. These are default interpretations, and they are weak, disempowering, and often completely false. The practice of revaluation is the conscious, deliberate act of writing a new script. You take the same event and you ask the most powerful question a man can ask. How can this serve me? What strength can this forge in me? What clarity can this reveal? This is not positive thinking. This is not telling yourself it's all good when it clearly is not. This is a strategic, almost militaristic reassessment of your assets. Let's take a concrete example. Imagine a man who is suddenly laid off from a high-paying corporate job he dedicated a decade to. The default interpretation, the story of resistance, is one of catastrophe. I've been discarded. I'm a failure. My career is over. This is a disaster. The energy here is one of panic, shame, and despair. Now, let's apply revaluation. The fact is the same. The job is gone. But the man practicing Amor Fati will consciously choose a new meaning. He will look at the event and say, "This is my liberation. This company was a cage. I was comfortable, but I was not growing. I was trading my time for money and losing my soul. This forced severance is the push I needed to finally start my own business, to pursue my real passion, to reclaim my time and my life. This is not a disaster. It is the best thing that could have happened to me." Notice the energy shift. The first interpretation leads to paralysis. The second leads to action, to creativity, to power. The event has been revalued from a catastrophe into a catalyst. This is alchemy. You are turning lead into gold. You are taking the poison of circumstance and transforming it into medicine. The third part of the formula is direction. This is where the liberated energy from recognition and the new, empowering meaning from revaluation are channeled into decisive, forward-moving action. Amor Fati is not a philosophy for contemplation. It is an engine for creation. Direction is the process of asking, now that I see this event as fuel, where do I drive? What do I build with this power? The man who was laid off, having revalued his job loss as liberation, now directs his energy. He doesn't just sit at home feeling liberated. He uses the surge of energy from ending his internal resistance and the clarity from his new narrative to update his resume, to network, to write a business plan, to acquire a new skill. The painful event becomes the propellant for his next chapter. The obstacle becomes the way. This is the complete cycle. You stop fighting the rock in your path. Recognition. You realize it can be used as a stepping stone or raw material for a tool, revaluation, and you then use it to climb higher or build stronger, direction. This entire process requires a fundamental shift in identity. You must stop seeing yourself as a leaf blown by the wind of fortune and start seeing yourself as the blacksmith in the forge of your own life. The fire is sometimes uncontrollable. The metal is sometimes hard and unyielding. But the blacksmith does not curse the fire or the metal. He masters them. He uses the fire to heat the metal and the hammer to shape it. Your fate is the metal. Your will is the hammer. Amor Fati is the fire that makes the work possible. This is how you build a self that is not dependent on external conditions for its strength. This is how you become unbreakable. Because when you love your fate, there is no longer such a thing as a bad event. There are only events, and your creative, powerful response to them. The world ceases to happen to you and starts happening for you. This is the ultimate psychological advantage. This is the formula for a life of power, purpose, and unshakable peace. Understanding the philosophy is one thing, living it is another. You now know that Amor Fati is the formula, the recognition of reality, the revaluation of its meaning, and the direction of your energy. But knowing the formula for gunpowder is not the same as having the skill to mix the charcoal, saltpeter, and sulfur without blowing yourself up. Theory is empty without practice. This part is your workshop. This is where we move from the map to the territory. We will drill down into the practical, daily, gritty techniques of alchemy. How do you actually take the leaden weight of a painful memory, a present failure, or a future fear, and transmute it into the gold of strength and purpose? It is a step-by-step process, a discipline of the mind that must be trained like a muscle. We begin with the most potent raw material you have, your past. Every man carries a ledger of wounds, betrayals, humiliations, losses, failures. The standard unconscious approach is to bury these memories, to try and forget them, or to let them fester as sources of bitterness and regret. This is like having a chest full of gold and treating it as a chest full of radioactive waste. You are sitting on a fortune, but are afraid to touch it. The first practical technique is the memory forge. This is not reminiscing. This is not therapy. This is a conscious, active, and often uncomfortable process of psychological recycling. Here is the protocol. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Take out a notebook or open a blank document. Choose one specific painful memory. It should be something that, when you bring it to mind, still carries a visceral charge. A twist in your gut, a flush of anger, a weight of shame. Now, you will walk through the three-step Amor Fati process with surgical precision. Step 1. Recognition. Write down the memory in the most objective, factual terms possible. Strip it of all judgment and emotion. Do not write, "My business partner betrayed me and ruined my life." That is a story. Instead, write, "On date, my business partner, name, transferred funds from our shared account to his personal account without my consent, which led to the dissolution of our company, name, on date." See the difference? The first is a dramatic narrative where you are the victim. The second is a simple statement of facts. This is the foundation. You are aligning your mind with what actually happened, not the story you built around it. Step 2. Revaluation. This is the alchemical fire. Look at the sterile facts you have written. Now, you will deliberately and forcefully assign a new, empowering meaning to this event. This requires brutal honesty and creativity. Ask yourself these questions and write down the answers. What did this experience force me to learn? How did this pain make me stronger, wiser, or more discerning? What door closed so that a more important one could open? If this event had not happened, what weakness would I still have today? In our example, the man might write, "This betrayal forced me to learn the critical importance of legal safeguards and financial oversight. It made me tougher and less naive. It closed the door on a partnership that was ultimately built on sand, freeing me to eventually build a solo venture that was fully aligned with my values." If this had not happened, I would still be trusting blindly, and my business would have had a fatal flaw at its core. This is not lying to yourself. This is mining the event for its hidden value. You are finding the gold in the dirt. Step 3. Direction. The final step is to convert this new meaning into a forward thrust. Ask yourself, given this new strength and understanding, what specific action will I take now or in the future? This action should be a direct consequence of the revaluation. The man writes, I will apply this learned discernment to all future partnerships by mandating strict contractual agreements from day one. I will use the resilience I gained from that failure to push through the inevitable challenges of my new venture with greater fortitude. The memory is no longer a ghost that haunts you. It is a drill instructor that trained you. You have taken a source of weakness and systematically converted it into a source of strength. This is not a one-time exercise. This is a periodic practice. You go through your ledger of wounds, one by one, and you forge each one into a tool. But life is not just about the past. The chaos of the present moment constantly throws new challenges at you. You cannot retreat to your notebook in the middle of a crisis. For this, you need a real-time tool. This is the Amor Fati trigger. It is a mental switch you can flip in an instant. The trigger is a simple phrase: "This is the fuel." When you hit traffic, "This is the fuel for my patience." When you receive criticism, "This is the fuel for my growth." When you face a daunting task, "This is the fuel for my competence." This phrase short-circuits the old automatic cycle of resistance and immediately initiates the revaluation process. It forces your brain to look for the utility in the obstacle. It transforms the situation from a problem into a resource. It turns every irritation, every delay, every setback into a single universal substance: fuel. And fuel exists for one purpose: to be burned to create energy and motion. This is how you live the philosophy and the flow of life. Finally, we must address the most subtle and pervasive form of resistance: anxiety about the future. Fear is the anticipation of future pain. It is resistance to a reality that has not even happened yet. You are fighting a phantom. To apply Amor Fati to the future, you use the technique of negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum, as the Stoics called it, but with a Nietzschean twist. Do not just visualize potential failures to lessen your fear of them. Visualize them and then visualize yourself applying the Amor Fati formula. Imagine the worst-case scenario for an important project. See it failing spectacularly. Then, immediately in your mind's eye, go through the 3 steps. Recognize the failure as a simple fact. Revalue it. This failure taught me X. It made me tougher in Y way. It redirected me to a better Z path. Then, direct the energy. And so I got up and I did this. By mentally rehearsing your alchemical response to future adversity, you disarm fear. You are no longer afraid of the event itself. You see it as just another piece of raw material for the forge. You welcome it, not because you want it to happen, but because you know that no matter what happens, you have the tools to transmute it into power. This is the daily practice. This is the work. The memory forge for the past, the Amor Fati trigger for the present, the alchemical visualization for the future. This is not a seminar you attend and then forget. This is a new operating system for your mind. It is the practical, hands-on method for building the unbreakable self. You are no longer a passive collection of experiences. You are an alchemist, and your entire life, past, present, and future, is your laboratory. Every moment is an opportunity to practice the ultimate formula. Every circumstance is an invitation to love your fate. Knowing how to perform the alchemy in theory, and even in isolated practice, is not enough. It is merely the first step on a much longer path, a path that leads to the very core of what it means to be a sovereign individual in a chaotic world. Knowledge that is not integrated into the rhythm of your daily life is worthless. It is a weapon you keep in its sheath, a tool you never learn to wield. It becomes a party trick, something you can talk about intellectually in safe, comfortable environments, but that fails you. The moment true pressure is applied, when the crisis hits, when the world turns upside down and your foundations are shaken, abstract philosophy shatters against the rocks of raw reality, an unbreakable character is not built in a single moment of crisis. It is not forged in the dramatic climax of a movie. It is built slowly, patiently, relentlessly, in the countless small, unnoticed moments of every single day. It is constructed in the quiet minutes of the morning and the frustrating delays of the afternoon. In the reflective silence of the night, it is built through ritual, through discipline, through a systematic, non-negotiable protocol that hardwires the philosophy into your nervous system, into your muscle memory, into your very bones, until it becomes not something you do, but who you are. This is the Amor Fati daily protocol. This is your training regimen for the mind, your boot camp for the soul. This protocol is not a suggestion. It is a mandate for transformation. It is built on 3 unyielding daily pillars: the morning affirmation, the daytime trigger, and the evening audit. Together they create a closed loop of conscious self-creation, a perpetual cycle of recognition, reevaluation, and direction that turns your entire waking life into a continuous forge for your character. Pillar 1. The morning affirmation with teeing the forge. Your first waking moments are the most crucial. They are the psychological gate through which your entire day must pass the state you establish in the furs. Tea 30 minutes after opening your eyes sets the neurological and emotional tone for everything that follows. It determines whether you will be the author of your day or merely a character in someone else's story. Most men are reactive from the very start. They are conquered before they even rise. They check their phones, they absorb the news, the emails, the demands. They are immediately pulled into the agendas and chaos of the outside world. They begin their day in a state of psychological defense, their minds already cluttered, their focus already fragmented, their energy already leaking before a single meaningful action has been taken. You will do the opposite. You will begin your day from a position of absolute sovereignty. You will seize control of the narrative before the world has a chance to write it for you. The moment you are conscious, before you even get out of bed, before you check the time or reach for a glass of water. You will perform a 5-minute mental ritual. This is your sacred space, your psychological dojo. Do not reach for your phone. Do not let the world enclose your eyes. Let the remnants of sleep fall away. Take 3 deep, slow breaths, feeling the air fill your lungs. Hold it for a moment and exhale completely, feeling the tension drain from your body with each breath. Then you will recite, either out loud in a firm, clear voice or in your mind, with intense, laser-like focus, the core Amor Fati mantra. But you will not just say the words, you will feel their meaning. You will inject them with the full force of your intent. The mantra is, today I will love my fate. Everything that happens, the obstacles, the delays, the successes, the failures, is the raw material of my strength. I will not resist. I will use. I am the blacksmith of my own soul. As you say these words, you must visualize yourself as that blacksmith. See yourself standing tall before the forge of the day ahead. See the fire burning steadily. A controlled, contained power. See the hammer in your hand. A tool of deliber. 8 creation, feel the weight of it. This is not a passive wish or a hopeful affirmation. This is a declaration of intent, a statement of fact to your own subconscious. It is you programming the deepest layers of your mind for the next 16 waking hours. You are priming your mental machinery to automatically look for the utility in every event, to seek out the opportunity in every obstacle. You are setting your default mode from one of passive resistance to active utilization. This 5-minute investment pays 1,000-fold returns. It is the most important meeting you will have all day, because it is a meeting with the one person who truly determines the quality of your life. This morning ritual is non-negotiable. It is as essential as brushing your teeth. but for your psyche, it is the foundation upon which the entire day is built. Without it, you are building on sand. With it, you are building on granite. Pillar 2. The daytime trigger. Living the alchemy. The morning sets the stage. It establishes the mindset, but the day itself is the performance. It is in the messy, unpredictable reality of your work, your interactions, your challenges, that the philosophy is truly tested and strengthened. This is where theory meets the road, and most philosophies fail. They are beautiful castles in the sky that crumble at the first touch of rain. To prevent this, you will actively use the Amor Fati trigger throughout your day. This is the practical application of the revaluation principle. We discussed the simple, powerful phrase, "This is the fuel," but to make this stick, to move it from a conscious technique to an unconscious habit, we must systematize it. We must create physical and temporal anchors in your environment. First, find a small, discrete object to carry in your pocket. This is your tactile trigger. It could be a specific coin, a smooth stone, a particular ring, anything that has a distinct texture and weight. This object is no longer just an object. It is a psychological tool, a talisman of sovereignty. NTI, every time you touch it, whether intentionally or by accident throughout the day, you will perform a 10-second check. You will pause for a single breath and ask yourself one critical question. Am I resisting, or am I using? This question is a scalpel. It cuts through the fog of emotional reactivity and forces immediate clarity. Are you stuck in traffic? Am I resisting, or am I using it as fuel for patience, for observing your surroundings, for planning your next move? Are you in a frustrating meeting where someone is being obtuse? Am I resisting, or am I using it as fuel for practicing strategic communication, for learning how to navigate difficult personalities, for strengthening your calm? Did you just receive negative feedback on a project? Am I resisting, or am I using it as fuel for course correction, for improving your work, for developing resilience? Are you tired and your body is screaming at you to skip your workout? Am I resisting, or am I using the feeling of fatigue as fuel to strengthen your discipline, to prove to yourself that your mind commands your body? This constant microcheck and this relentless self-interrogation prevents you from slipping back into the autopilot of resistance. It is a circuit breaker that stops the old patterns of frustration and despair before they can gain momentum. It keeps you firmly in the creator's mindset. It transforms the entire day from a series of things that happen to you into a continuous stream of raw materials being presented for you. The trigger object is your tether to consciousness, pulling you back from the brink of reactive behavior dozens of times a day. With each touch, you are reinforcing the new neural pathways. You are carving the grooves of the Amor Fati mindset deeper into your brain until one day you realize you no longer need the object. The question has become embedded in your very perception. It is your new automatic nature. Pillar 3. The evening audit. Sharpening the tools. The day is over. The war K is done. The battles have been fought and won or lost. This is not the time to collapse into distraction, to numb yourself with entertainment, or to let the events of the day churn in your mind like a washing machine of anxiety. This is the time for the most powerful and underutilized practice of all, the evening audit. This is where you harvest the lessons of the day, where you extract the nutritional value from your experiences and convert them into permanent growth. This is a 10-minute journaling exercise performed just before bed in a quiet space. Take your notebook, a dedicated journal for this purpose. You will write down 3 things and 3 things only. This structure is deliberate. It forces conciseness and clarity. It prevents rambling and ensures you drill down to the essence. First, you write the hammer. Below this is the single most challenging, frustrating, or painful event of the day. the thing that tested you the most, it is crucial that you write this as a sterile fact, a simple recognition: do not write. My client was a difficult idiot who ruined my presentation. That is a story filled with judgment and emotion. Instead, write: my client interrupted my presentation 5 times with critical questions about the budget. This is the objective data, the raw material. Second, you write the reforging. This is the alchemical core of the audit. Here, you take that sterile fact and you perform the revaluation. You consciously, deliberately assign it a new, empowering meaning. You ask yourself, how did this event serve me? What strength did it force me to summon? What weakness did it reveal that I can now address? What lesson was hidden within the frustration? In our example, you would write: this forced me to be more prepared with budget data under pressure. It revealed a gap in my knowledge that I can now fill. It taught me to anticipate objections and handle interruptions with more poise. It made me a tougher, more resilient presenter. This is where you find the gold. You are not denying the difficulty, you are transcending it by finding its purpose. Third, you write the sharpened edge. This is the forward momentum. This is where you translate the insight into action as a direct result of this revaluation. What is one concrete, specific action you will take tomorrow? This action must be a direct consequence of the lesson. It closes the loop. It completes the cycle from passive experience to active creation. In our example, you would write: tomorrow, I will spend 1 hour mastering the budget projections and preparing answers for the 5 most likely critical questions. This audit does 2 profound things. First, it solidifies the learning. It takes the chaotic, often emotional experiences of the day and forces you to process them rationally to extract their hidden value. It turns pain into curriculum. Second, and most importantly, it allows you to literally close the book on the day you have processed it. You have learned from it. You have taken its power. There is no need for your mind to churn on it overnight, rehashing the same scenes in a state of anxiety. You can sleep with a clear, quiet mind, allowing your subconscious to integrate the lessons while you rest. This practice guarantees that you do not just have days. You have progress every single day without exception. You become stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you were the day before. You are not just passing through time. You are actively sculpting yourself with it. This triad: morning affirmation, daytime trigger, evening audit, is the engine of transformation. It is simple in design, but demanding in execution. It is not easy. It requires discipline, consistency, and a ruthless commitment to self-honesty, but it forges the unbreakable link between intellectual understanding and embodied character. This protocol is what separates the amateur from the master, the dreamer from the doer. You are not just a man who understands Amor Fati. You are a man who lives it. Breath by breath, moment by moment, you are building the habit of strength. You are becoming unbreakable one day at a time, and this daily, relentless practice is what will make the difference when the true storm finally comes. You will not break, because you have been forging yourself in the small fires of every single day. This is where it all comes together. This is the final forging, where the individual lessons, the daily practices, the philosophical understandings are compressed under immense pressure into the core of your being, into what we can call unbreakable character. You have learned to stop the war with reality. You have learned the alchemical formula of Amor Fati. You have implemented the daily protocol to hardwire this mindset into your nervous system. Now we reach the ultimate goal, the crystallization of this entire process, the forging of a self that cannot be broken by circumstance, a self that not only endures but thrives on pressure, a self that welcomes the storm because it knows the storm is the very thing that reveals its strength. Character is not something you are born with. It is not a static set of traits. It is a living, dynamic structure that is built choice by choice, action by action. It is the sum total of your responses to life. And when those responses are consistently guided by the principle of Amor Fati, you build a character of unparalleled resilience. Think of it as psychological carbon. The raw material of your psyche is subjected to the heat of adversity and the pressure of conscious choice over and over again until it undergoes a molecular transformation. It becomes diamond, hard, clear, and brilliant. This is the end result of the work you have been doing. This is what it means to become unbreakable. The man of Amor Fati is not a man without fear or pain or doubt. He is a man who has integrated these experiences into his structure. He has taken the blows and used them to temper his steel. He does not avoid suffering. He uses it as his primary building material. There is a profound difference between the man who has never been tested and the man who has been tested and has transformed the test into a part of his strength. The first man is fragile. His confidence is a facade that will shatter at the first real challenge. The second man is anti-fragile, a concept popularized by Nassim Taleb. He gains from disorder. He becomes stronger, more capable, more resilient, precisely because of the challenges he has faced and loved as his fate. The man who practices Amor Fati is the ultimate anti-fragile system. Every setback, every failure, every heartbreak is not a detriment to him. It is data, it is fuel, it is grist for the mill. It makes him better, harder, smarter, more compassionate, more real. He is like a sword that is sharpened by being used. He does not fear being used because being used is his purpose. This is the final stage of psychological development. The transition from being a creature of circumstance to being the author of your character. You are no longer a passive recipient of a personality. You are an active forger of a self. This is the essence of Nietzsche's Übermensch, not a Superman in the comic book sense, but a human who has overcome his own conditioned weaknesses, who has taken the chaotic raw material of his existence and hammered it into a coherent, powerful, and beautiful form. He is the one who can look at the entirety of his life, the pain, the joy, the triumphs, the humiliations, and say a full-throated yes to all of it. This is the ultimate expression of power, the power to not be destroyed by reality, but to create yourself from its very substance. So what does this man look like in the real world? How does he move through life? He is calm. Not because he avoids conflict, but because he knows he can handle anything that comes his way. His calm is not the calm of a placid lake. It is the calm of the deep ocean, powerful and unshakable beneath the surface. He is decisive not because he always knows the right answer, but because he trusts his ability to handle the consequences of any decision he makes. He is responsible. He owns everything in his life, his past, his present, his future. He does not blame others or circumstances. He knows that to blame is to give away your power, and he is here to reclaim all of it. He is grateful, but not in a shallow, sentimental way. His gratitude is a deep recognition of the fact that every single event in his life has contributed to the strength he now possesses. He is grateful for the betrayals that taught him discernment, for the failures that taught him resilience, for the losses that taught him what truly matters. This is the final piece of the puzzle. The understanding that Amor Fati is not a strategy for survival. It is a path to a life of profound meaning and purpose. When you love your fate, you are no longer chasing happiness as some external object to be acquired. You are generating fulfillment from the inside out, from the very substance of your experiences, both good and bad. Your life becomes a coherent narrative, a story of continuous growth and self-overcoming. You stop asking, Why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this here to teach me? How can this make me stronger? This shift in questioning changes everything. It turns your life from a series of random events into a heroic journey of your own creation. You are the hero, the king, the master of your own domain. Not because you control the world around you, but because you have mastered your response to it. This is the only control that ever truly matters, and it is absolute. This is the end of the beginning. You now have the philosophy, you have the practices, you have the protocol. The rest is up to you. The work is yours to do. The forge is yours to tend, the hammer is yours to swing. This is not the end of your journey. It is the start of your real life, a life lived with power, with purpose, and with an unshakable love for your own fate. Go and build it.